We saw, of course, the Evelyn coming around, Blue Pot trying to get in there, J-Reed getting in, Flash, Pulverize. But N-Rated was there every time.
Yep.
Dark Binding after Dark Binding has worked so well for him. Maybe that's even something they need to look towards. J-Reed on Alistair. It is not working.
No, it really isn't. And we are seeing the same bans thus far. SK have banned all 3 of the same champions they have in the 2 previous games. Irelia, TF, and Zillion, and this is now a change for Millenium.
Yeah, they've let Maokai through and Nidalee through. So they've given Kevin the choice, and they're going to attempt to take the other one. I think he's actually going to go Maokai.
I wonder if this... Yeah, I think Maokai would be the preference. And I wonder if Millenium were hoping that it's going to be Nidalee and they could pick Maokai.
I think they're going to first pick Morgana again. And then they're just going to say, fine, we're going to see what you go with. And well, no, they're not. They don't want to risk Maokai going.
I actually like your idea, because the chances of locking in both Nidalee and Maokai are slim to none. But on the same token, if SK are adamant that in terms of the priority picks, this is the way to go, I would love to see this. It worked well in Challenger. Chachi did a great job with Swain. How practiced is Kevin with Swain, if he's going to lock it in?
No, changed it. Goes to the Cogmore Morgana, but it's a big change. It's the support change, and they've also stolen away SK's
duo lane
completely.
Yes, Morgana Cogmore has been run in both of the previous games for SK, so Millenium have already leveled up their pick and ban phase. They've got a relevant AD carry. They've stolen away N-Rater's Morgana, who was landing so many Dark Bindings, but like we said, it is late game ADCs. Tristana is the theoretical opposite number to Cogmore.
Yeah, and there's so many options available to it. Nami alongside Tristana, it is a strong, potent lane. If you get caught out, you could well be in trouble. So immediately, SK, they're like, fine, you're going to take away our first choice. We can switch straight to this, and it is a strong second choice.
Do you see how decisive SK are in the picks and bans? They took a little while for their Maokai, but in the previous games as well, SK have been very, very on point, and they've been very quick to react in what they wanted to lock in. And I think we're going to look at Emperor Palpatine once again. This
is top lane Cow this time around. Lee Sin also picked up by Cottonix, despite the changes. Of course, he will fall away on the late game. Doesn't have that attack speed nerf as heavy as he would do when he used to get on towards that AD carry instead. We'll see if it works out. We'll see whether they're going to get to that late game stage and whether Cottonix can really put pressure on it, because as so far hasn't had a great impact.
Agreed. His Jarvan was non-existent, really. His Evelyn just got shut down by N-Rated's Morgana and Dark Bindings on so many occasions. So back to a comfort pick, back to something that he's played a boatload. This will be his 14th game in summer. He played 13 in the summer split. He's got 8 wins with that champion, so that's a pretty good win-loss ratio. But it's the top Cow that's going to be interesting to me. Where and how is Kevin going to play this? Because we've seen Trinity force into Static Shiv yesterday, and then we've seen a tank build later in the matchup. So what itemization route is Kevin going to take against this Maokai?
Of course, the Ziggs was picked in there. We saw Svensk going on. Kha'Zix already is locked in for the mid lane from Kerb. Is this what they needed? It's a shake-up for sure from Millenium, but is it something untested?
I like Lux in this matchup. I think the range advantage that you're going to have, the wave clear you're going to have against Ziggs, and also the ability to lock down both a Kha'Zix or a Maokai that dash into you with that light binding. I mean, it's going to root 2 people in place. It is very, very powerful. When you combine that with a Dark Binding, when you combine that with a Pulverize, there is a lot of hard CC that can come into play. But I do think it is very relevant for Kerb and Kevin to have a strong start to the game, because if they aren't able to get those bindings, get that CC, and keep Creatine alive with that Cogmore to kite and, you know, lay down the smackdown, I just think they're going to get trampled over. Lux, of course, her passive does more damage in 4.13. So small changes, small tweaks. She's more relevant in the late game because it now has an ability power ratio.
If she wants to risk walking up and landing that pot, that's for sure. It's a risky
Or if someone jumps on you, you can get the damage down.
But honestly, for Millenium, this is the time to take risks. Yep. This is where they have to try something. Who do you guys at home think has the edge heading into this game? Is it the final game? That's the question. Tweet out #SKWin or #MILWin to @LOL eSports, and we'll check out your votes. Also, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, to use the LCS Big Plays if you see something you think is outstanding. There's been a few so far. Yep. Great plays, especially from SK's side.
Mine's a slightly non-standard one. I really like the way SK peeled away from a bottom lane fight, dodging all the spells and ended up getting kills. I mean, it's just such great understanding of the situation.
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen, game 3. Will it be the final one? Will it be a clean sweep for SK Gaming? Or will Millenium manage to strike back? They are 2-0 down. Rockan, of course, managed to put Super Hot Crew in a similar situation yesterday. Super Hot Crew did manage to drag that game back, but it was a long, hard-fought battle, which they ended up losing 3-1. Of course, they will be facing Fnatic. The winner of this will face Alliance, and it seems Millenium are on one of their famed invades.
They've got such a strong level 1. I mean, flash for flash on supports. That's a okay trade, and we'll see if any jungler can punish it. But with Dark Binding, with Light Binding, with Pulverize, the level 1 is definitely sitting in favor of Millenium. I want to go back to something that you said just at the end of Picks and Bans, was you're 2-0 down on a best of 5, and you know, why not pull out all the stops or you know, take a risk? I actually think Millenium took risks in game 1 and 2. Lucian was a risk, Corki was a risk, Alistair support was a risk both times. And it didn't work out for Millenium. So this time around, it's their third trick, third gambit, as it were. And we'll see if this one can actually work out in their favor.
Well, if you've not seen top lane Cow at all yesterday, if you weren't a keen-eyed viewer, we'll see if he goes the same route that we've seen so far, which is the Trinity Force into Static Shiv into possibly a Frozen Heart. Of course, that will be changing because he's up against a double AP comp in Freddy and Jez on Maokai and Ziggs.
It's actually quite difficult to itemize because there is a fair amount of damage from obviously Ziggs and Maokai. Then you've got a lot of physical damage from both Kha'Zix and Candy Panda, especially if Svenskeren goes for that sort of early armor penetration build. But luckily, Kevin's got a press R to survive most things button, and we'll see how effectively he uses it. I actually likened the Trinity Force Static Shiv build and playstyle to a split push Shyvana playstyle, because you've got that trample passive on Alistair, which does give you a slightly more effective wave clear. It's not a massive amount of damage, but it will allow you to push a wave fairly quickly. And when you get those static Shiv procs and the attack speed, etc., in conjunction with your Pulverize, you can actually clear waves very, very quickly. So we'll see if Kevin does play that split push role and does play that route, because top lane Cow is very exciting.
Interesting start between these two mid lanes. Jez has thrown out those bouncing bombs, and not a lot of them are connecting with Kerb so far, who's happily just to focus on the farm, sidestep those bombs. But again, as a Ziggs, very easy to farm out. Will just keep his CS very tight between them. See how that one progresses. Quick, Candy Panda putting the explosive shot onto Creaton. Get that little burn dot ticking away on him. Creaton, of course, led in the last match in CS. Finally managed to get himself a little bit of an edge on it, but Candy Panda has been fantastic throughout. Incredible stats across these games. 10-1-7 in game 1, 7-2-9, I believe, in the last matchup as well. Explosive shot working well, wiping out the wave, keeping the pressure.
Oh, Bubble's not going to connect in Rated. Might be in a little bit of trouble.
They're going to go for it. Connex comes around the side, lands the Sonic Wave, but then Rated, the heel comes down, jumps on him from Candy Panda, gets the slow on Connex. Nicely done. And SK are free.
So good attempt by Millenium. They get the flash, not the flash, rather the heal from Candy Panda. But a very, very smart rocket jump from Candy Panda, actually slowing Cotnex down, preventing him going further. I was going to say before the gank came in, if you actually looked at Candy Panda and Rated, they were poking Creatine and J-Re very effectively. In between Candy's CSing and Enrated's positioning, they were putting a lot of auto attacks and spell casts onto their opponents, which Creatine and J-Re had no response for. But the moment I wanted to say those words, you know, Dark Binding did connect, and obviously Cotnex came in for that gank. It's going to be a repeat gank.
Yeah, but no flash available this time. He managed to land the flash Sonic Wave. It's going to be a lot harder to land. He's backed off. He's going to go straight towards the white of the side there. J-Re, meanwhile, he is going to back off, and farm-wise still pretty even between the two. Look at that. Candy Panda just walks up, explosive shot straight to J-Re.
Yeah, but while farming, and Creatine, I just don't really think he's focusing on it. I don't really think he's putting a lot of attention into that. And you know, when you've struggled two games in a row, it does affect your psychological play. And we just need to see, every time we look there, see how effectively Creatine is trading with his opposite number. Anyways, Cotnex is holding Creatin's hand. Dark Binding, can it connect? They're going in.
No flash, remember, for them this time around. He will try and get on towards N-Rated. Have they got enough? They have! Connex finally gets himself first blood.
Punishing N-Rated for that flash earlier on, where JV was able to throw the Dark Binding out. Kill secured there for Quaterfinal. The repeated ganks working in his favor, but it has cost Creatin some CS. He should make that up shortly, though, since Candy Pan is going to get away. Can Svenskeren steal a blue buff? This is the question. He's going in.
Hello, flash on towards him, pounce! And the unseen threat of a Kha'Zix catches on towards him. Candy Panda, oh, Dark Binding catches. Rocket jumps just at the right moment, though. Gets himself to safety.
Yeah, managed to queue up that rocket jump before the Dark Binding connected. So anyways, top lane's the lane we haven't looked at extensively. Kevin, with his sustain and his harassment's got a small CS lead, but it won't be much.
No, it's going to be a sustain versus a sustain, as Freddy will just clear out a bit of this wave. Well, it's a fairly passive lane, let's put it this way. I don't
It's going to be exhilarating.
Too much.
It's going to be both ultimates damage reduction, both knockbacks, and CC. I'm sure it'll be exhilarating. But Kevin, with a Sheen first item, does signal it's going to be that Trinity Force. So
yep.
Very, very hoping to see this Emperor Palpatine. And Kevin's got such a beef with Freddy because of how badly he's been beaten in those last two matches. He really needs to get his horn stuck in and try to punish Freddy.
Any more?
I can, but I'm gonna save them a little bit. I'm gonna save them a little bit.
You've been working on these overnight, or what?
No. Just inspired by Joe casting the games yesterday. Really got me excited.
Not at the moment. Freddy, ooh, look at that. Popped his ultimate. Was a little worried that Kevin was ready to go for it. Of course, Keltnex was waiting just off the side there. Jez is warding out, getting him some coverage in this mid lane. Continue to farm. All this while, it's a good Dark Binding landing, but look at Kraton. You can see his health. He cannot get involved in that one, has to back off. And this bottom lane pairing of Jayri and Kraton has been under pressure throughout this series.
Yeah, they've really been struggling. And of course, they are against a very frustrating lane to deal with because there is sustain there on Nami. So support versus support, but Enrated's got way more hit points, and Jerry's out of mana actually. Ignite is available for Enrated. We'll see if he gets caught.
Oh, thought about going for it there. Managed to sidestep both the Dark Binding, flash out of the Light Bind, and he will get away. It is a good point to mention, of course, for Millenium. They have incredible crowd control. So, evolution of the Void Spikes once again for Svenskeren, as we saw in the previous matchup when he played them. This is a deep move, though, for Svenskeren. Caught out. Head before Rise. Laser comes through! Is it going to be enough? Tries to tank it through! Unbelievable! And Connex, he's taken down at the side there with Jesus.
Yeah, managing to survive. The summoner heal from Jesus actually kept Svenskeren alive in that situation. And just turning it around. Millenium thought they'd caught them out. And even though that final spark did connect, it just wasn't enough damage. If that isn't an LCS big play, I don't know what is.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. The combo almost worked out. Jez is going to get himself the blue buff, though. Got himself his first kill of the game as he moves towards the Athenes. Kerp doing exactly the same. So Cotnex has already tried to create pressure. It worked for him in the bottom lane, but he's now 2 deaths down. And again, it is starting. The trickle has begun for SK.
We'll see how quickly they can turn the trickle into a pull. Light Binding,
followed by
that is so frustrating to deal with. Now this is one of the powers of Millenium Squad. You are going to have like multiple CCs that can all work very well together. Put Void Ooze and that Lucian Singularity down from Lux on the ground, slow people down and line them up for that massive chain of roots. But what needs to follow up after is you need to get Creatin hammering away on that target, or Kerp has to have enough ability power to blow them up. And if that doesn't happen, if they can't kill someone by the time that root runs out, that's all they really have. Then they're going to be reliant on Cottenex getting rid of the threats with his Dragon Rage, or obviously alternatively Kevin keeping them in place with that knockup. So we'll see if their primary initiation works out.
Shouldn't discount the damage that Kevin will have as that AD carry cow, effectively, melee champion that can get involved. They do put out a lot of damages. AD ratios can get incredible. If he gets a Trinity Force and Static Shiver now, I think something like 300 plus AD, which is pretty high.
It is very scary, but he needs to get there first.
Yes.
Farming, still behind Freddy. despite having a slightly, strong start. It was initially Kevin that was bullying around Freddy, but this time around not working out. And Cottonex playing with his life a little bit. Svenskeren, if he jumped on it, maybe would have had a lot of damage.
Rubber Ducky bouncing Kurt towards him, but instead he just turns it around, puts the light binding down, sidesteps, gets another basic attack with that passive down. Does not land the second skill shot. Svenskeren is waiting off at the side. Hasn't evolved his wings yet, so he can't pounce in quite as high as he'd like. Can't jump across that forested area just yet. Instead, he has to come around a traditional route, which doesn't look like it's going to work. But look at Jesus, look how much he's pressuring. Really trying to force this one. He wants to go back. Gonna buy up a second item. Probably going to be some boots maybe. He's got the themes already completed. And it will be the boots.
Yeah, the wave clear versus wave clear in that mid lane and just the ridiculous range is going to be very important when it comes to the siege and the counter siege. Now, SK, when they were dealing with the Ziggs in game 1, played very passive and very slow. And I think Lux will have similar levels of wave clear. But Creatine has slowly got some control back in this lane. He was being bullied very early on, but since having access to living artillery and having that phage in his inventory, it does look like Creatine and Jerry are playing more aggressively. The last 2 or 3 times we've poked our eyes down at this lane, we've seen Candy Panda and Rayton on the retreat out of risk of getting caught out. Tower dive top, they're going on the cow.
It's a tricky tower dive, that's for sure. He's got a lot of reduction here. He's trying to do what he can to try and kite it round. Freddy switches the aggro to Svenskeren, and Kevin lives for now. They trade back in, jump back in towards it. Svenskeren gets it.
Very well played. Second time he goes for the flash execute on Kha'Zix. We'll talk about that lane in just a minute. Millennium, they're looking for Candy Panda.
Mega Inferno bomb does not land on anyone. Jerry manages to land the proc on towards Enrated. Light binding lands from long range there. And they do get the kill on the support. 1-for-1 trade. Top tower goes down. Still yet to get that dragon. Millennium, they have to win this trade and they have to get the dragon down.
They've got to be so careful of the bouncing bombs from Jesus. He's running out of mana though, so time will be out. Fred is going to be teleporting, so this is going to turn into an engage. Candy Panda is still untouched as well. This is going to be a big one, D-Man.
It's a 5-on-3 though, that's for sure, so it's a big advantage, but it's SK that are forcing him away. Kevin goes in once again, pulverized on towards Freddy, passes him in there. Connex strikes, but he gets caught out. Kevin now in trouble. Jess is trying to land the shots on towards him. Candy Panda has to back off there as Millennium engage, but they do not get the dragon, so job done by SK.
End up trading kills in that scenario, but yes, as you rightly pointed out, SK were the ones that got the objective in the tower in the top lane after diving Kevin. They managed to force him away and they got themselves the kill. But because Jesus was so low on mana and he'd used his Mega Inferno Bomb on the initial Dragon engage, SK weren't able to do more. So Freddy teleports in just to give up his life while securing 1 kill in the process. Jesus, no more mana though. He's burned through his entire mana pool. It's going to be relatively useless for the next couple of moments, but it's not over. Dragon is still available. Cottonex is coming in at full life, and I think this is the smart call from SK to back away.
Yeah, they need to back off from that one. Kurt was low, but still had the laser, so he could have fired from range. Also, we saw the entire Millennium team moving back in towards that one. Kevin's gone back to the top. They're not done yet, SK. They still want to make sure this is secured. It's the bottom lane that they should be looking at. Kraton is going to back off, go towards that Trinity Force. Infinity Edge slowly being built out by Candy Panda. Meanwhile, Svenskeren, a bit of a regressive build this time around.
Yeah, he's got himself that Brutalizer once more. It is the armor pen Kha'Zix, which Diamond did in Super Week again. Yep. Svenskeren slightly deviated from the full damage route in game 1, but we'll see what he decides this time. And Cottonex, obviously, Sidestone Lee Sin, going to be getting some wards down. He's been in the right place most of the time, and despite giving up a couple of kills, has felt more impactful, has felt like he's contributing to the team play. Millennium are only 1,500 gold down at about the 15-minute mark, which is one of the smallest disadvantages they've been in. And we'll see if they can even up that global gold. It is 1 tower, 1 dragon that can make it closer.
Well, they saw, of course, that Millennium had a number of people up towards the top there. SK quickly tried to move for this one. J-Ree, quick black shield stops that Aqua Prison landing. Dragon down to half hit points. They're going to have to back away from this one. Svenskeren has taken way too much damage to get involved.
For a laser, maybe?
Easily get picked off if one of the dark or light bindings were to land. Instead, they both get sidestepped. But Millennium, they are doing a good job at staying at range and making maximum usage of their abilities to pipe them out. Svenska and caught out. Is the laser not going to come through? Doesn't go for it. Doesn't pull the trigger.
No, he doesn't. Really want to focus on getting that blue buff, and if SK continue to extend this engage with no blue buff on Jezz's and obviously blue on Lux, is going to be a very big advantage to Millenium. This is turned into a 15-minute dragon dance. We usually see this around Baron, and neither team's willing to give up that objective, but neither team really has the tools to instantly win. You know, the moment Kevin wants to jump into a team fight, he's going to get rooted by Freddy or knocked away by Tristana. The moment Freddy wants to jump into a team fight, he's going to get kicked away by Cottonex or rooted by Kerp and Jerry. So there's so many tools to deal with the limited initiation from either of these teams. That's why we're having these awkward extended standoffs.
Jerry took a lot of damage there. Some good poke from SK, and they feel that may well be enough to go back in. They start the Dragon off again. Millenium claps in. There's no movement from the bottom lane at the moment. Kratos continue to farm, and this Dragon, I think he's going to be secured this time around. SK will take it.
Yeah, very easy. Millenium too slow to react. That's not the fight though.
Kratos there. Now is he going to get focused on? Can they try and get away from this one? Can he? Panda moves in. Mega Inferno Bomb catches on towards Cottonex. He's taken very low, but will survive. Meanwhile, back above, you can see Kevin and Kerp moving in. They cannot land any of that crowd control though, and SK safely disengage.
Smarter positioning from SK and punishing Millenium for splitting up. Now Millenium, they can make a small turnaround. They've got minions moving up behind them, but Jesus should be in range to get some bouncing bombs down. We'll see how quickly or how long they commit to this tower push. But Millenium, they split up. They were in the middle lane, they were bottom lane, they wanted to farm, and SK rushed Dragon. I mean, it was a timing thing, and SK punished Millenium for being too far away and being too spread out.
Svenska comes around, he will see Kevin there. No, Trinity Force still completed. He fancies it, goes in for it. Can he try and draw something from this one? Kerp instead throws out the light binding and the Lucent Singularity, and will have to back away. Svenska got the ward.
Worth it, I think.
Absolutely.
But the main thing to notice is just how much damage Svenska is putting down. Whenever you see Alistair, your brain tells you tanky, but he's only got a Phage and a Sheen, so he's nowhere near tanky yet. And I made that mistake as a spectator yesterday going, oh, Alistair's coming in, this is going to change. Why is he almost dead? Oh, there's no resistances or HP. So you have to remember that Kevin, while he doesn't have his ultimate up and running, he's not going to actually be a very, very big threat. He's got those boots of mobility, and we'll see if he can impact any of those side lanes.
So something
make things happen.
I want to point out here, actually, for Kerp, especially because obviously Lux was a champion. We saw a lot of people running back in Season 3, and I distinctly remember Froggen talking about it. You know, the usage of the ultimate. His words were exactly, you need to use that ultimate the moment it's off cooldown every single time, non-stop. Continue using it. Don't save it, which is what Kerp seemingly has been doing. Obviously, we just saw him to use it to wipe that wave out, but you can see, he used it, went back to base, comes back, it's back up. It's such a short cooldown. You have to keep firing it, keep just trying to land those shots.
I agree with you, and to expand on the point, if he had maybe called to go for the laser for the Dragon Steel, you know, it was pretty clear Millenium didn't want to go for the engage. Go for the blind steal. I mean, these guys have all got that sixth sense and game sense, and they knew Dragon was going on. They were making moves towards the pit, but it didn't happen. So we'll see how Kerp continues to use it. He's got that second level now of that final spark, so even lower cooldown, higher damage. But Millenium, they've just slowly been ground out of the game once more. Lost a Dragon, lost a tower, being out-farmed in top, in jungle, in AD carry by a small margin. And it's just these small wins that is going in SK's favor.
One thing I always note with Canny Panda, and I love him for it because he's awesome, he hits the damn tower every time. He will walk up, get a couple of shots, and then back off. He is not afraid to put himself out there. Sometimes,
I'm so glad you say this.
Sometimes it puts him in a sticky situation, but he will always walk up, get a couple of auto attacks on it, and back away. It's exactly what he needs to do.
Look at the damage.
Caught out. Yeah, Svenska got a lot of punishing damage. The Hex Trinket is now completed alongside that Brutalizer and the Elder Spirit. While this is all happening, of course, the top lane has been a bit of a problem. Kevin up against Freddy again is being forced back, out-farmed, and maybe outplayed.
And I want to reiterate, we talked about Kevin in the pregame. If Kevin is doing well and you know, is able to perform in his lane, he's the front line that Millenium needs when they go for all of these engages. A lot of it rests off Kevin having strong and steady and stable performances. He's lost both of his games on Aatrox. He's behind in his game on Alistar. And I think Millenium have either misread Maokai or just underestimated him.
Wolf flash used there. Freddy dodging out. Almost caught by the light binding. Remember, Blades are still being held. Candy Panda going aggressive on Creaton. The wave comes out from Enrated. Candy Panda in trouble, locked down. Soul Shackles goes off, forces the flash from Enrated. Finally, Millenium get themselves a kill in the bottom lane.
Yeah, well played by Creaton and Jerry. It took a long time for them to really go nice and aggressive. Trinity Force Cogmore is going to do more damage than an Infinity Edge Tristana. Just the whole kit of Coggins, especially if you just park yourself down and load with living artillery. So grabs himself a kill, grabs a tower as well, and that's going to close that gold lead. You can't bark up that tree. Freddy grabs the golem. It's just, gotta have some fun with it.
So, top lane, Freddy is dominating still. Absolutely dominating Kevin. Yeah, I mean, he's, again, fallen behind in CS. Just unable to deal with the Maokai.
This game is going to be slightly drawn out if SK are to win it. And the reasoning, they want Freddy to become the unkillable, unchoppable tree. And they want Candy Panda to be relevant and have a power spike. I think the way SK played in game 1 was very telling. They wanted to hit their power spikes, they wanted to hit their itemization levels before they challenged. And then even when they were challenging, it was super risk averse, and it was very much about the safe plays. And it feels like that's what SK are doing again. You go back to all of those Dragon engages. SK danced around Dragon instead of committing. SK danced in and out before stealing it away by having better positioning.
Trinity Force is finally being picked up by Kevin, but SK, they are moving into the jungle. Blue buff is a possibility. Of course, Dragon is alive. Oh, J-Ree. He's going to walk straight in. He's not going to be able to survive the burst power of Svenska and a Candy Panda combined. That could well be the Dragon for SK.
Yep. Going to at least be one of those very powerful CCs that's not available. Teleports both up for the top laners, but no movement from Millenium. They're going to be giving that one up. There's no vision in the pit for Millenium either. SK have got decent wards in the blue buff area. Actually, very good wards in Millennium's blue buff area. We'll see if they can find Curb. The satchel charge will slow him down.
Trouble.
Yeah, Bug's looking for him. We'll see if the Bug can splat Curb.
Mines are not going to land, but the bouncing bomb will. The wave comes through. It's Mega Inferno bomb lands. The wave lands. In goes Curb in trouble. And he will go down. Svenska gets on towards him. Leaps on towards Konex. Gets the reset pick used by Konex to force him away. We finally saw that laser coming out. That's the first time in around about 5 or 6 minutes since he last went back. He just keeps holding the trigger. Yeah,
I think Kerp was actually turning the light on to go to in his death. Simply didn't matter. He got rammed down. Every single member of SK just chased him down. After punishing Millenium for being out of position, they grab a Dragon.
Oh, Creaton's been jumped on. He's caught out. Freddy's going to catch on. Twisted Advance. He will go deep, but he can tank out all that damage. Look at that. Candy Panda explosive shot just blows him away. Gets on towards it. Gets the double. Onto J-Ree. Can he get the triple? May well fancy it. Flashes for it. Oh, Dark Binding caught out. Candy Panda, run away, man. He will go down. Outplayed by J-Ree.
Yeah, you can't blame him for trying Dark Binding as he lands. Now they're going to go for the cow.
Kevin. He's caught out Light Binding. Laser Svenska. Just not enough damage coming out of Curb right now. And Svenska with the Hexdrinker just shields it off.
Manages to walk away from that one. SK Gaming punishing Millenium over and over for being out of position and just really poor pathing. That's very brave from Svenska. Still yet to back away. I guess he's far enough ahead. 115 CS to 61 on Quaterfinal. And just really great combination here from Millenium. Despite the fact that Creaton pulled Freddy under a tower, Freddy took next to no damage. And let's just see, how close is that? One more hit. Yeah, one more hit probably wouldn't have done it. We've seen the heal from Alistar, but knock up and Dark Binding, that's going to cost him his life. And you can't blame him for trying. Why not? It would have got another tower if that kill had secured.
I think dreams of triple kill, quadra kill, and potential pentakill in the quarterfinals for flashing through Candy Panda's mind. Why not, like you mentioned, go for it there? It seems to be working out well for him now. Static Shift is completed. You guys at home, well, that vote is swinging in SK's favor. 57% of you now getting behind them. We've seen some big plays throughout this series as well. Millenium, are they going down to a clean sweep, a 3-0? Will they be facing Super Hot Crew in that 5th place playoff? Kevin, meanwhile, that ultimate is not being used. He's holding on to it, doesn't have it available yet. Can he get it live? No! And Rated caught out. Laser comes through, but he lives, and still, the power is not there for Millenium as they slowly get beaten out of their own jungle.
Somebody on Reddit needs to make a punchline to the following opening line. A insect, a tree walk into the top lane, and they order filet mignon Kevin. What's the punchline? Don't know.
I don't know.
But that was just an easy kill on Kevin. SK are romping across the map. There's nothing Millenium can do. And the moment somebody's alone, SK jump on them and kill them. Every single member of Millenium that's been alone for the last 5 minutes has died.
Yeah, and SK get themselves a blue buff for Jesus. Oh, wait. No, nope.
Oh, scumbag Sven.
Svenskeren managed to get, I don't think he planned it. He just kind of hit him. The red buff, I think, finished it off.
Big smiles on Jez's face, at least.
Yeah, it's like,
he's not
well.
too frustrated. I'm sure he'll get his own one soon enough.
It's a 6,000, already got his own one. It's a 6,000 gold differential. Nevertheless, Svenskeren catches just about everything thrown his way. Bottom turret now going down. Candy Panda continues to move in with the wave, and they're pinging it. SK are going to rotate around here. Jay Reed low on health. The siege continuing, and everything for SK is going their way. Look at Freddy waiting off the side. Kraton throwing out those saplings, getting the slows down on Millenium. They could push both towers at once.
I think they can. Candy Panda's been left unattested or uncontested for a while. And despite the long-range engages, oh, the satchel! I think that made the laser miss.
Yeah.
Anyways, Kurtzman caught.
It caught out, interrupted it. Laser, while it looked like it went off, didn't quite. Kevin now caught out, leaps in there. Svenskeren catches on towards in the Aqua Prison enough, and he will get a kill and just leaps on out. There is the inner turret going down. They can keep pushing this one, ladies and gentlemen. There's only 3-man defense, and Jay Ree's got no health. The bouncy bomb's coming through. Inhibitor turret going down. It's another short game, surely, for SK Gaming as they continue to just charge through Millenium's base.
There is nothing Millenium can do. They were relying on their range. They were hoping that the Lux and the Morgana was going to be able to keep SK at arm's length and prevent them getting caught out. It simply isn't the case. That satchel went off just before that channel, that spell animation went down, and I think either cancelled it or made it miss, but regardless, it doesn't change a thing. Even if the damage had applied, Jesus was still next to full health, and SK just continued running across it.
Fantastic stuff from SK Gaming. Millenium started so close, started so well. It was a tight dragon fight for a good 15 minutes, but SK Gaming just, once they sniff the lead, they just absolutely make it count, and they are doing wonderful things right now. Millenium, they're going to have to hope for some form of miracle. They're trying to find it in catching out Candy Panda in the jungle. He's off the side there as 4 members on Millenium push through down the bottom lane. Kevin singled out on his own. He's in trouble. He's going to go down. No doubt about that one. Svenskeren gets the kill on this one. While Millenium, what are they doing? They're waiting. They're trying to catch out. It's N-rated. Simply catching on support. You still don't even have the damage to finish him off. Connex comes around. They threw everything at just simply getting a kill on N-rated. Now SK close the net on towards them. Kraton poured out. He's going to go down. Jay Reed, the next focus, he will go down. It's a simple kill. Just a kill lane. I don't know what to call it. Simply SK just dominating Millenium. I don't even know what they were planning down the bottom there.
I agree, and I'm super happy that SK have proven me wrong. I was anticipating them to play safely and, you know, avoid those long-range skill shots, but because SK have been presented these opportunities of Millenium being out of position, they've not hesitated. SK have played aggressively, they've punished Millenium for being out of position, and they've continually just taken objective after objective. They've given up 1 tower this game, and the wave that Candy pushed a few minutes ago into this bottom inner turret will now be finished off, and it's just all about SK.
And you know, I recall the conversation I had, I think it was N-rated or Candy Panda, I'm not sure which one it was, just a couple of weeks back, and I said, who do you want? Who do you want to face in the quarterfinals? And it's like, Millenium, we know exactly what we're up against. We know what they're going to try and do, and we know how to play against it. And honestly, they've come into this quarterfinals with an absolute perfect strategy and just dominated Millenium, who just have not turned up.
Yeah, I completely agree. SK have responded to Millenium's picks and bans, and it is a combination, right? Because I think Millenium may have had their theories, may have had their strategies and their plans coming into this, red side in games 3, counter pick mid lane. But I don't think they've done it. You know, I don't think they actually executed the theory well at all. And in all 3 of the picks and ban phases, you can look at specific champions and go, why did you do that? What was the point of this? What were you hoping would happen? And then when you get in-game, they are also just mechanically not delivering to the standard we've come to expect. This is super weak Millenium, not the 10 weeks prior.
And this is super weak SK.
Yep.
Honestly, for me, you can look at every single lane. It's not just any particular lane. Freddy outplayed Kevin every single game. Svenskeren in the jungle has been brilliant. Got out once, but he made it count, quickly got straight back and got some kills. Jesus, honestly, has done a lot better than Kerp in the mid lane. Kerp has been a fairly non-factor in all 3 of these games. The fact that he's got a Meki Soul Stealer on looks right now screams desperation. Candy Panda has been magnificent. Simply, he's got, what, 20 plus kills already in just these 3 games. He's absolutely been dominant. And alongside him, N-Rated has been brilliant. Landing waves, landing dark bindings, landing everything that he needs to.
Yeah, SK have just completely stepped up their game. And with SK looking like they're going to close this one out 3-0, we very realistically could have a playoff bracket that looks like the spring split. I'll get to that thought in a second as Millenium. They're getting split off, but there's no Svenskeren.
Candy Panda's the focus target, but can they get him down? Everything thrown at him. The laser will finish the job. Now, can they make this something? Freddy's going to get tanked down. He will drop. Mega Inferno Bomb does a lot of damage coming out from Jesus. They may well turn this one around. Everybody is still low. In comes Svenskeren. Finally, he joins the party a little bit late to this one, but was not invited. Carnex instead comes in. It's a 3-0 so far for Millenium. Can they make it count? They're going to have to push hard down the mid lane.
They need to make something special.
Oh! Svenskeren leaps in, gets himself one, gets the reset, jumps out, flashes. He can still keep picking them off. He's going to kite them around here. Kraton knows, focused on N-Rated. He gets caught out. It was a 4-for-1, but if they're going to go Baron, that is a big, big risk with Svenskeren still alive.
I feel like even with a massive team fight like that, Millenium were able to punish Sven for being on the top lane of the map. It was a positional error. Kevin is teleported back in. Sven now 1v4. And I don't know if he can steal this. Regardless, this is a tad risky. If Kotnex or Kerp go low, there is reset potential here.
Not going to risk it.
Nobody from SK is close enough. Okay, so Baron is big. The team fight itself was not necessarily the greatest of losses because SK still had a 10,000 gold lead. But getting Baron, having your teammates respawn, and having the buff available for the next fights, that's very important. All credit to Kotnex and J-Ree for catching Candy Panda and killing him. Because the moment he was removed from the fight, it became infinitely easier. Sven and Candy are your consistent damage over time, auto-attack spells, and then Jez is hopefully spamming from long range. But obviously there was no Sven that fight, so Millenium punish, and they win 5v4 convincingly, as well as getting Baron. Now they're back in it, but it is still a very, very, very big hill to climb.
We just saw Kevin and Kraton also taking the top turret down as well. So they've got themselves 2 turrets. And the Baron, can they do anything else with it? Or was it simply a fight of opportunity with everything working out? Candy Panda was singled out. And once those 2 carries kind of went down, it was Millenium that does prove they have a lot of power. Keep your eye on that Soul Stealer, by the way. I want to see how that one stacks out.
How many stacks did he end up?
5 on it currently, so it's almost making it pay. I think 6 is the margin when it starts to actually work in your favor. So, it's a big risk, and it may well work out for him. But at the moment, SK, they're just going to take the time, sit back. They're against the Baron up team right now, so it's not on them to do anything. It's down to Millenium to try and make use of this.
Yes, I agree. And for SK, now they might actually play more passively unless Millenium present solo targets. But for Millenium, with the Baron buff, they've bought themselves time. So the gold lead that SK had accrued will become less significant as the game extends for very obvious reasons. And in order for Millenium to claw this lead back, they want to make use of Baron to either scare SK away and get towers or dragons. Dragon's going to be up in 30 seconds. Millenium appear to be grouping for probably that very objective, but we'll see if they can make a play on the middle turret first. And the moment Millenium start clawing back that objective gold, now the burst damage from Kerp becomes scary. Now the dark binding from J-Ree is more threatening as well. But they've got no minions to work with, so can't go for the tower.
Well, that's the problem. They're pushing up against Ziggs. He can wave clear, no problem. Candy Panda alongside him on Tristana, explosive shot. That wave will not last.
Svenskjaren with his Void spikes, you know, Void missiles rather, got the Black Cleaver, got a Hex Drinker in there. I mean, he's also no slouch at clearing minion waves, and actually,
Sneaky.
that's just going to sneak it. Millenium, I don't even know if they're aware that Dragon was up, because they made no move towards it, and they need to. They need to be making use of Baron. It's a deterrent for combat, and they haven't done that.
Well, every time they step forward, they get those Void Spikes in the side, slows them down, and they step away. This turret, simple outer turret, they can't get it down. Millenium trying anything, they're trying to land the picks. You can see the Sonic Waves are going in, the Dark Bindings are going in, the Light Bindings are going in. They want to manage to land something on Jesus or Candy Panda, but they're playing clever, they're playing defensive.
So if Millenium keep it up, they do have minion waves in top and bottom pushing in their favor. But it feels like it's a little too late, if I can be that harsh, because those minion waves are going to take quite a while before they get to a tower. And the moment Millenium peel away from the mid lane, they've got to deal with a Mega Inferno Bomb for wave clear, so that instantly eliminates one threat. And they're not going to make it to the opposite side of the map, to the other minion wave. So it just feels a little half-hearted. Let's see what Jesus does. There you go. So, top wave completely destroyed, but Millenium, they're going to tank this without minions.
Oh, and rated. The laser was finally used from Kerm. Look at it. It's such a short cooldown. Make more use of that spell. They are not throwing it out half as much as I'd like to see. Instead, it's another chunk of wave clear. Jesus is back, and they can't push anything in. Freddy's happy to save the Dark Bindings. He can tank through that one. Every spell that gets used, he's going to regenerate a little bit more health.
And he's going to have the sustain from Enrated to help back him up. Baron buff has worn off, and Millenium
didn't even make a dent in the tower.
Able to stall. To be fair, they did get a few auto attacks, but no, I mean, they spent 2.5, 3 minutes literally watching SK wave clear. That is exactly, and then when Jesus disappeared, they're like, okay, we'll sneak a few hits. Jesus will let us have these. And then they ran away. It is still a 11,000 gold lead. It is still a matter of Millenium having little tools to contain SK, and still they made a lot of individual positioning mistakes, which is why Millenium's in this position. Kevin's gone the tanky route, so let's see if he can sustain or keep a team fight going long enough for Creatin's Cogwar to be relevant.
I don't think he had time to get the static shiv, honestly. I don't think he was able to do any of that split pushing that maybe he wanted to do, maybe originally planned to do for Saw maybe, but SK Gaming pushing on through the mid lane. Now it's their turn. They have that gold lead, they're well aware of it. It worked well for them in the past. Now they're, I think, maybe going to flex some of that muscle and prove why they managed to just charge through that mid lane and expose that inhibitor, who is Hound. Of course, now it has respawned. So Millenium are on defensive duties without a tower.
Yeah, the aggressive positioning from SK, knowing that Baron's down, is just such a confident tell that they're going to look to punish. And despite Freddy eating multiple Dark Bindings, no one else from SK has been caught. No one else has been punished. Let's see if Candy Panda going aggressive for the inhib can get him caught out, because it is something that does happen from time to time. And there's also the threat of a flash Soul Shackle engage. The Millenium time is running out. They need to go in now if they want to try and make a fight happen.
Well, then inhibitor, I think they're accepting the fate that will go down. Cotnex was trying to make a play. It's Svenskjaren caught out with the Sonic Wave. I don't think he's going to follow that one. And Freddy runs defensive duties while the rest of his team rotates up, and that's going to be an inner turret because Millenium are too slow to react to this one. Candy Panda has a gigantic wave with him, and Millenium are, again, it's too late to this party.
Yeah, Millenium too scared to engage the inhibitor, so they don't defend that. Then they're too slow to respond to the top lane minion wave, and SK get uncontested objectives. And it's just very smart play. I mean, I think SK is very well deserving of all of the accolades that they have in this series. It was a slow start in game one, and I was nervous, I'm not gonna lie. I was worried about the level from both teams because Millenium was struggling and SK appeared to be struggling. But they've definitely shaken off the rust in games 2 and 3 and come out swinging.
Well, Baron now up. SK in position and waiting for someone from Millenium to take a peek. Instead, Jesus is simply putting damage down from the side. Millenium looking to continue pushing. Are they going to go for the turret first? It's something they've been working
They
for.
can get surrounded. Tidal wave could cause trouble.
Freddy popped the ultimate. He wanted to go for that one, but it wasn't quite close enough. That twisted advance, of course, hasn't got the range he once had, which is why he wasn't able to get close. Had flash available if he really wanted to go for it. And this is exactly the same position we saw them in the last time. Millenium came out on top. Oh, Kerb caught out. But a quick heal comes on towards him. Kevin now in trouble. How can he tank through all of the damage at the moment? He's going to come around the side. Creaton off the side, untouched so far. Jesus gets in. They're all close, lined up. The laser lands. Candy Panda has the rocket jump out of there. Kevin will finally go down, and Rated takes all the damage. It's a 1-for-1 trade so far. Both top laners picked off. Svenskeren looking to try and finish this one. Candy Panda flashes in. 4 against 1 against 2. Svenskeren gets the reset. Candy Panda straight in there. He will. Goes in towards Garnet. Gets on towards him. He will go for the reset. Is it going to be enough? He's just going to void spikes back up the moment. It will finish him off. No! Gets away, but the base is exposed and SK can push it.
There are super minions pushing up the middle lane. Jez is going to look to interrupt Kerb. If he can kill Kerb, that is their wave clear. Mega Inferno Bomb's
Super
not
minions,
available.
base.
Look at the base. As long as Jez keeps Kerb away, there's nothing to clear the minions away. SK have done it.
It's over. SK Gaming, they're going to take this one 3-0. There's nothing that Millenium can do, and it's a fantastic performance. SK will go through and face Alliance in the semi-finals of the European Regional Championships. Can they make it to World Championships? They are one step closer, and that is a beautiful sight. Fantastic 3-0 for SK. Dominant performance here in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, Freddy's going to be so happy with that performance. He's leafing here today with a massive smile on his face. And he's firmly rooted himself in the top, a top team here in Europe. This is the second split in a row where the same 4 teams are in the top 4.
Yep. And, well, last time around, history proved the Rocket actually took down Alliance for that 3rd spot. Can SK and Fnatic make it to the finals, just like they did in the spring?
I don't know, because Game 1 is still, there's so many questions for me regarding SK in Game 1, and I think it was
Thank you very much, D-Man. I'm here with SK's bottom lane, Candy Panda and Rated. First off, congratulations, guys. A clean 3-0 sweep here. And Rated, let me ask you to begin with, is this 3-0 sweep, is that a relief, or is that a confirmation of what you already knew, or is it a combination?
I think it's a combination. Every one of us feels relieved because there was so much pressure on our shoulders for the last weeks. We've constantly tried to improve and did everything we could towards that. We had a lot of training, a lot of preparation going into this match, and we had the right mindset, and we came in here to win. So a 3-0 wasn't unexpected, but we wouldn't say that it was easy to win those matches at all, because being on such a big stage, playing a best of 5 means everything is on the line, and we just made the better play, and that made us win in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Candy Panda, talk me through maybe first the first 2 games where it seemed like you guys had the upper hand and picked some bans already, and your preparation was already showing off.
Yeah, so we focused a lot on comfort picks for us, and we knew that we would be blue side a lot since we had the better seed. So we were 3 games blue side at least, and then they choose the blue side. So we knew we had to blind pick mid, and we prepared like some champions which we can just blind pick. And I think also the bottom lane wasn't aware of that they can't really play Alistar against Morgana, because it really screwed them over. 2 games, they got just outpicked in the bottom lane, and yeah, they just picked a bit weaker champions than we did, I think.
Yeah, well, talk me then through the 3rd game, because then finally they came out with the Kog'Maw-Morgana combo themselves, and you guys went then for Nami Tristan. And then talk me through that. Was that an adjustment in mindset, or did you know, well, just give us any lane, we can probably do it?
No, we knew they would probably either ban Kog'Maw or Morgana, or even both, or they would chicken pick it right away. And I said like to Enraid that we can just play Tristana and Nami, and it will be fine, and it was fine.
And Rated, then talk me through the 3rd game, because it was actually the only game maybe that you guys had some resistance from Millenium. Then they got the Baron and the Lux coming in there. What was the tricky thing about that game 3?
The matchup overall was really good for us on bot lane. Like Tristana and Nami is supposed to beat Kog'Maw and Morgana. The problem was that they drew my flash early because of so much Lee presence. So the lane was kind of even though it should be in our favor. But we didn't get that much help. So in the end, we could get advantage all around the map just because of that, and that paid out for us.
Yeah, well, it paid off. 3-0, clean sweep. You're on to the semifinals, and you were mentioning actually beforehand to me as well, this is such a totally different feeling. Everything is on the line. You mentioned here again. Next week, you're in Gamescom in front of thousands of people. Talk me through how you will prepare for that and maybe keep the nerves in check.
We have practiced a lot for this week, like as much as we possibly could. So we will keep up the practice and specialize our preparation towards Alliance and give our best shot at going to Worlds.
Yeah, is there anything you guys want to say to the fans out there, maybe Candy Panda supporting you guys still?
Oh yeah, I would like to say thanks to the fans that like keep sticking us out, even though in like week 6 to 9 we went really bad because we didn't play. But like we knew we could come back, and I hope our fans knew it as well. So it's great if they still support us.
Well, you guys are back. You guys are absolutely on fire. Congratulations, and see you guys in the semifinal.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, now let's head back over to Demon and Quickshot once again for an update on the playoffs.